In today's episode, Double MC, I felt bad about one but certainly not the other. The time read your contract backfired regarding holiday pay. One electronic item per tray? Sure, no problem. So let's get started. Double MC, I felt bad about one but certainly not the other. Hi all. Usual on mobile apology for formatting and any errors. This was easily about 8-9 years ago. I was working in a call center. We sort of a middleman between a selection of theme parks and hundreds of hotels that customers could book as a nice package holiday. Now most people would call up the theme park, think they were talking to the location itself, but actually be talking with a bunch of part-timers in an office nowhere near, depending which brand they called. We'd answer, as that brand and all in all was painless. There was a website, but we were there in case of special requirements. Sometimes people didn't want to book online, etc., etc. Now the parks we support are fairly popular. So much so people do fly in specifically to have holidays there. This means the job was two things: wonderful for some families, these were the once-in-a-lifetime trips, and you were the person helping them get the holiday they wanted. The other side was pure hell. If the holiday went to SHT, you know full well it's somehow our fault. We had all sorts of calls, people screaming, threatening us, etc., etc. I had a good track record, often closing sizable packages, and always went a little further, sorting out some balloons in the room for little Timmy's birthday, notifying the park to add Tom's birthday alongside the other kids to celebrate his special 45th. You know, random acts of kindness. I was often told by management to remember to stay in my lane, and while it was nice I should be on the next call, not emailing the hotel to arrange that unpaid for bits and bobs. Now one day a family called me, and I could tell immediately they were posh. They were flying in and were looking for our top options, top hotel, unlimited fast track tickets, the whole lot. I went in immediately and suggested one of the on-site hotels, asking what favorite characters the kids going had, etc. However, the woman booking heard wonderful things about this alternative hotel. We're talking 5*. Head chef won award for cooking a pigeon some, while other pigeons would offer themselves to be next. All fine, sorted it all out. Booking came to $12,000 something, through my discount on their L, pulled all the bells and whistles out. Boss comes over's raving, what a deal. What a close. I'll go tell my boss, wanders off. Hour later the family call back, woman had since googled the on-site hotel, and was stunned at how wonderful it was, as it was for her granddaughter. Could she be a pain and rebook there? Yes. Absolutely. I have to cancel the old booking first. The refund can take the usual however many days, and the second booking made immediately. She went fine, went through and red alert. Her Amex is stalled as 2 12K shots in a short pace caused some issues. I checked out system, found out it was us blocking it, not her, and had to get a manager to resolve it. I explain I can't do anything right now to finalize it, but let me call in a favor. I call into the hotel and explain everything. Could they do me a favor and hold the rooms until we get it all hashed out? Yes. You want your usual balloons bullsh***? Their words, yes. Go on then. I log everything in our system, all the conversations, who I spoke to when I went hard as it was a small holiday here. And go ask my manager. She's fuming. Because she's been and bragged to the brass how she's doing well because I closed this sale, and suddenly asking her to refund the amount. Yeah, but it's to book it again? The second booking was actually more and we'd end up still better off, but she wobbled about it. Tells me she will do it, but it's end of my shift, so go home. I beg her to call the family, she said she would. 2 days after my next shift I sit down and see that my weekly total is missing the 12K, but not replaced with the 15K. I go ask my manager what's happened, did she speak to them? No, they didn't answer, they'll call back. I asked if I could call them myself. No, get back on the phone, this is not your job, your job is to answer the phones. I protested, this could be 15K we lose, we should chase it? None your extra BS this time, go get on the phones. I'm a little pissed off. But there is nothing I can do, So I decide the smart thing to do is log everything new in our system, including what my manager told me, and just answer the phones. 2 days pass and I get a phone call from the family ask for me get patched over. They were ready to pay again. Amazing, let's do it. I call the hotel, sort out the package, and all ready to go. The red alert comes up again. My manager hadn't green-lit the payment, however, as the refund had been processed, it was just sat in pending. All my manager had to do was hit a button and the family would get the confirmation email. I speak to my manager, she tells me to F***ck off, and to stop bothering over this. I mark all that in the account on the system and promptly have a week off. I come back and it's a Sunday night, slowest shift of the week, usually people phoning to tweak a booking, ask what time the park opens, etc., but then one phone call came into a newbie. The screamers are easier to deal with, they come in hot and you just play kind and calm. They look deranged, and as all calls are recorded, if it needs escalating you look sane. It's the calm collected complaints which are the scariest, and this family's grandma? She's definitely killed people. The poor newbie got this call and we knew immediately something was up. He nervously asked if I was on a call and if he could patch them over. Sure thing. It's the grandma and she's not happy. Calm but not happy. They had flown in at the park's hotel, but as no payment had been received they weren't allowed to check in. I checked the booking. My manager never processed. They were sat in the lobby, 4 kids, 2 sets of parents and grandma, and nowhere to stay. I call my manager, it was 9 p.m. at night at that point, and she didn't answer. Tried 3 more times and got an email saying it's her night off, don't bother her, another one logged in the system. I actually then called the hotel front desk, explained I was balloon BS and needed help. The staff there knew me and gave me a break, but they didn't have the power. The hotel manager did, got patched to him, explained everything, and he went, okay, hey, race the deal. We can put the family in the rooms, but we need to charge someone the room. I'm going to charge the company you work for and you guys can hash it out later. This is where the first MC piece I felt guilty about. I'd done everything by the book, and there was this family stuck stranded in the lobby, and charging the company for the 2 was just a no-no, like lose you job, have them come after you for the money type no-no. So I tried calling every contact I had, but it was 11/12 p.m. at night at this point, and no one was answering. So I hit F***ck it. I called the hotel back and told them to do it, knowing full well I'd be job hunting the next day. Logged it and left. Wasn't due until 10 a.m., but got call at 6:30 telling me I needed to be there by 8. I arrive, get frog marched into S meeting room with 3 levels of bosses in front of me, my manager, her manager, and his manager. They also had a single printout with an invoice for $15,000 from the hotel in my name. They went in on me, 20 minutes of yelling, shouting, 1 left to get HR in for an immediate dismissal. HR arrived and only asked one question: can you justify why you comped a $15,000 package? The only thing I could think to say was check the logs. My manager looked thunderstruck. Her boss looked perplexed, and his boss just looked at my boss with a scowl, and all 3 told me to wait there while they left and HR sat with me. 10 minutes later, I was told to take the day leave, and when I came back the next day my manager was on the phones like the rest of us. And I was told I'd be reporting to her boss alongside the wider team. Learn 2 things, do nice things and people do nice things for you. Also log everything, emails, conversations. If you ever feel it wasn't right, make a note and timestamp it for the love of God. The time read your contract backfired regarding holiday pay. Back in 2015 I worked for a pretty dismal call center. It was an outsourced center that handled customer support for a lot of UK retailers. Staff turnover was real high, with the vast majority being on temporary contracts and the promise of a permanent contract being hung over people's heads to make them **ck up, being treated like crap. After working there for about 2 years, in late February of that year I was offered a permanent contract because they wanted to put me on their team leader program. The pay was slightly better, the job security was better, the only major difference was how holidays were handled. People on temporary contracts were paid for any unused holidays at the end of the working year in April. People on permanent contracts had to use their holidays or they would lose them. I had just over 3 weeks holidays saved up, so the day I accepted I booked 3 weeks of in March so as I wouldn't lose them in April. March rolled around and my manager told me that my holidays had been refused. I said that's fine as long as they pay me for them, and he replied that no, if you don't use your holidays you lose them. I said that I was trying to use my holidays and they were not letting me. He shrugged, said it's the duty of the employee to manage their holiday time wisely, and I should read my contract despite the fact I had only gotten that contract 3 weeks earlier and the holidays worked differently. Understandably annoyed that evening, I went home and read my contract from beginning to end and discovered my manager had overlooked one crucial part of the paperwork. The contract clearly stated I had to give a week's notice, and that any holidays not used would be paid to any leaving employee in full on their last paycheck. The next day I came into work and announced I would be quitting unless paid my holidays, or allowed to take the time off, and if they accepted my notice then to be sure my holiday days was included in my final paycheck. My boss asked me if I was really going to quit over this, and I replied was he really going to lose one of his most reliable employees over this. He wouldn't budge. I assume he thought I was bluffing. So I handed in my notice, and on my leaving interview with my manager's manager made sure to explain exactly why I was leaving. And yes, my final paycheck did include my unused holiday days. The end. 1 electronic item per tray? Sure, no problem. Long-time lurker, first-time poster, English not first language, you guys know the drill. This happened yesterday, as I was returning home from a 2-week trip to Germany. The final leg of the flight departed from Paris, where I had this lovely interaction with the agents whom, despite me knowing are not TSA, I still refer to as TSA in my mind. While going through security in the airport, I know the drill, belts off, jacket off, take the laptop off my bag. So I submit to the X-ray 4 trays, one with my carry-on, one with my laptop by itself, one with my belt, watch and jacket, and one with my personal item, think a fanny pack. I'm randomly selected for further screening. I have a Lebanese last name and a beard. I'm always randomly selected for further screening, and the agent berates me for putting all my electronics together. I point out that I took my laptop out of the bag as per standard procedure, and the agent says, screaming at me, mind you, that is not enough. I must take out every electronic device from my carry-on and put each of them in an individual tray, and I'm being sent to the back of the line to do so. Here comes the malicious compliance. There are 2 things this French TSA agent is unaware of. The first thing is that I'm a videographer by trade, and I was in Europe to cover an event, Spiel, with video footage and interviews. The second thing is that Air France changed my flight times, so my 2 hours layover became a 10 hours layover, which I'm not particularly happy about. So I'm being sent back to the end of the line and I have to submit each electronic item individually? Sure, no complaints from me. 2 camera bodies, 1 drone, 1 GoPro for lenses, 9 batteries and 2 lavalier microphones later, there is no more space in the treadmill. People behind me are complaining they will miss their flight, because I'm taking so long. There's nothing I can do, I'm just following the orders I received. And at this point, I only unpacked my photography vest and fanny pack. The treadmill starts moving, some space clears up to put additional trays, and that's when I open my carry-on bag. Again, I'm in Europe for work. I didn't bring any nice clothes or shoes or anything. All my personal effects are in the checked-in luggage. The carry-on is filled exclusively with electronics. I still have 4 microphones, 2 recorders, lights, additional lenses, battery chargers, video monitors, audio monitors, drone controllers. Once I open my carry-on, it's very clear for everyone within eyesight that I'm not even 1/3 of the way done. 1 electronic per tray? Sure thing, I'll just occupy this entire checkpoint by myself, then. The people behind me in line are literally jumping and screaming about their missed flight to the point the security agents leave their posts to control the line. Someone in a non-uniform suit appears and talks to the agent who sent me to the back of the line. That's when the unthinkable happened. The agent comes to me and says there would be no need for me to continue separating my electronics, and I could just submit my entire carry-on bag as a single item, and they'd examine it further if it seemed necessary. You sure? I asked because it's no bother at all. I can keep unpacking here all day long. They insist it's not necessary. But I still have over 20 trays at this point occupying the treadmill. I go through the metal detector, I spend some minutes recovering and repacking everything, and based on the amount of fuming passengers, I like to think I contributed to Charles de Gaulle reviewing their stance on X-raying individual electronics. Thanks for watching.